Happy Memorial Weekend, you guys.
Hey, everyone.
Des and Jen Doza, the usual suspects back. So we just got through a huge week.
Yeah.
We got all 180 steers branded in 3 days. We did 60 a day. And Shane just said this was the best crew ever. It was Shane and I and our friends Ty and Will and Chris came to help out. Stellar crew. And then Jen and Noah swapped off AM and PM with helping us holding front feet on horses, catching front feet. And then Brenda headed up our ground crew. She's always fantastic with that.
It was so smooth.
Yeah, they were super smooth. And she had to train everybody this time. Nobody had really ever done it before. So out of 180 steers, they just had one get up, which is pretty good for the crew. So super happy. Brands look great. Cattle were all fantastic.
And we got to deworm them as well, so it'll take kind of an extra step out of our schedule for the season, because typically the timing works out that we have to run them through the chutes to deworm them, but we just did it on the ground this go around.
We just got it all done in one shot. The last day, it was pretty decent weather the first 2 days, and the last day it rained like a half inch. So luckily we had our old indoor and we were able to bring in groups of steers, put them under the heat, get them dried out so nobody got scalded or anything like that from the brands. So everything just went super smooth, super happy with the crew. You just couldn't have better cowboys on the crew with us. We just had so much fun.
And the steers were really quiet too. We turned them out onto hay in a back pasture after everyone got branded. And then on Thursday, we moved everybody to Pier Mountain. Well, 170 head to Pier Mountain. So they got to go right out.
Yeah, we kept 10 back in our East Catch Pen to kind of be a draw for our one single steer that was kind of still... He had actually made his way through the state section gates onto Shane's Mountain, and he was kind of just high-headed running at the bottom for a while, and we just waited on him. And eventually, yesterday morning, right? Mm-hmm. Yesterday morning, Jen and Sammy were off, but they had to come and feed horses or whatnot. And Sammy said, "Hey, just so you know that the wild ones alongside the fence line of the other ones." And so I just ran out. We were all kind of in our sweats and tight pants and stuff, and we went out there and opened up the gates. And the steer had kind of worked his way up the road, kind of towards Shane's driveway area, but he was alongside the fence, so he's one that, like, from very far away, he's got a feel. Well, like, it just worked out perfectly. Jen and Sammy kind of brought the steers up towards the open gates, and Jen was able to sneak out of there, and then I just kind of ran my ass up the hill, hiked up the hill, and got above the steer, and then right about that time, Shane drove through the gates in his Ranger, and just that little bit of energy kind of sent the steer trotting up the fence line. By that point, the steers that were in the East Catch Pen had kind of filtered a little bit out of the gate, and so he joined up with them, and then they all kind of started walking up the mountain. So I'm just kind of, Shane had gotten out by that time, and he was getting in position, and I was kind of hustling in position. And
at first, Sammy and I were so worried, because at first he saw them and he ran. Yeah. And we were like, oh no, we now have 10 steers out and one wild steer headed the opposite direction. But then we just stayed in position. We were kind of crouched behind some stumps and trees and just watched them for a second, because they weren't going crazy. And he finally turned around and was like, wait a minute, maybe I'll give this a second chance. And so once we saw that they kind of settled and were together, Sammy and I hoofed it all the way around to where they couldn't really see us when we ran. And then we like army crawled underneath the fence because it was going to be too long to get to a gate. Because we were trying to help Des and Shane with where they were at.
You guys would have sat there and...
So it was definitely, Sam and I looked at each other and we're like, good thing we had our radios and we got a little bit of cardio for the day.
Yeah, it could have gone really, really wrong. But everything just kind of, it went really, really right.
Yeah.
And we got the steers walked back into their pasture real quiet, and he's gotten really settled. Mm-hmm. He's not high-headed anymore. I think he's just happy to be with his friends again.
Yeah. And it's a great pasture, too. Like, we threw hay 10 minutes after they all got in there, so they kind of settled onto that pretty quickly and away from the fences.
Yeah, so sometime this week, after he's had a couple more days to settle, we'll bring them all to the old indoor and get him branded, and then get them kind of on a pasture with grass close by, because we'll probably work those steers horseback and with the dog and stuff a little bit before we turn them out. So yeah, everything has been accounted for, which is really awesome. It's crazy how, I was telling Shane, it's crazy how it works out. Like, we're just down to the wire. Like, right before branding, we got the 4, and then right before this guest week, we get the wild one. So really happy with that. The steers, we moved them in 2 bunches onto pier, the remaining 170 head, and they are super happy up there. It is green and lush. We're really excited to ride it with the guests this week, because we gotta really keep presence. We're gonna probably only graze it for a couple weeks max. We'll gather them back off. But it's it's big country. There's tons of wildflowers out, and it's just gorgeous up there. Shane and I were driving around, checking on cattle, checking on fences, and all that good stuff. So it's gonna be a really exciting week riding out there. It's just so beautiful. And we have only had cattle on here one other time. It was in the fall, I think 2 years ago. And that was actually before Willie did all the land clearing. So A, there's a lot more grass right now, and B, it's a lot more open. It was crazy running the cattle up there last time. It was a jungle. It was very exciting, but it was wild. So we're planning on we're gonna graze it early, get off early. That way there's plenty of feed for the wildlife in the fall. So see how that program works out. Super cool to have cattle up there again, because it's only been one other time, and it's just a spectacular piece of land.
And with the green grass too, the herd went out on grass for the first time last night, and they were so excited that we put them in the elk pasture, which is right off of County Road and right off of the driveway.
I think it's one of the prettiest pastures.
It's kind of like, it kind of gives me fairy tale land vibes, but
it's awesome.
They ran around for a good few minutes just kicking up their heels, so excited to be out there, and then they kind of settled, and then they'd have another moment where they're all excited and jazzed, and the whole herd gets running around, and then they settle again. And so they were on there starting for 3 hours last night, and then throughout this guest week we'll continue to give them time on the grass just to let their systems adjust.
There's a lot of sugar in it, so we don't want to throw them on there all night at the beginning, because it's kind of a kick in the pants for their system.
Yeah,
so
we'd have some little children running around with like pixie sticks in their systems if that was the case.
So we like to ease them onto it. And no, it was actually kind of cool, Jen, because Shane and I were on pier, and so we could see in the meadow where the horses were at. And then about 6:30 last night, we had this hailstorm.
So wild.
It was like golf ball size hail, and it went for like at least 10 minutes, maybe 15 minutes. It was like, when it was done, it looked like there was snow all over the ground. And we were up there, and the second that hailstorm started, you could just see the whole herd. They're just quietly grazing in the grass, and they just booked it, galloped full speed into the trees, and And it was kind of a cool sight to see. Another cool thing about these cattle, that they kind of grew up in a mountain area like we have. One thing that was really cool that Shane said he doesn't see very often is right before this hailstorm started, that the sky was getting kind of black. You knew something was coming. But a lot of the cattle, I would say, if they weren't up eating, there was at least half of them laying down under the trees. And, like, they knew that the storm was coming and they were already ready for it, and they just kind of hunkered down. It was really cool. They just knew it. So awesome to have them there. Awesome riding this week. We're gonna be riding a lot. And this, I told the crew this, we had kind of a quick powwow, and I said, you guys, this is the year that we're gonna be cowboying a lot, because these cattle, they're not crazy or anything, but they love to climb. They love to be in all the spots that are high. They love rocky open ridges. Dylan's been going around. He got around the whole pier fence. It is stinking solid, but knock on wood, we don't have any more cattle get out of the fences. But if they do, we're riding on 200,000 acres of wilderness. So it'll be a big year. Big year with these cattle.
And hopefully with all the riding out this week, we don't have as much crazy little spurts of snow and hail and downpour.
Yeah, it's looking like Monday and Tuesday will be pretty nice and warm, and then it'll be in the 60s. It's been kind of a cooler spring this year. So it's beautiful for growing grass. That's true. There's on Shane's Mountain, with all the rain we've gotten, you could hardly even tell we had cattle on there already.
Wow.
Because the grass is just sprouting. And everywhere that Willie has cleared the way that they do it now, it just pops grass immediately, and the kind that the cattle like to eat. So it's a really good deal.
And we're excited for this week as well, because Sammy just finished up putting out all of our new gift shop items, all of our new merchandise for this season. And it's really neat because there's a tracing on the back, because we do like a different design every year, and it is surrounded by Shane's quote of the know what you want, know what you got, and know where you're going with it. So it's really neat. We got a bunch of hoodies, some t-shirts, pullovers, all sorts of.
Did you get more hats?
Good. I think they're on their way.
Yeah.
But that's really neat. The gift shop is filled to the brim. I know we got some new tack in there to kind of restock. So if you come join us, check it out. It's really exciting to see all the new items.
Yeah, it's fun. Sammy got me a special order sweater with that saying and picture on it, and my favorite color, mustard. So apparently, now that I've been wearing it around, mustard seems to be the color everybody wants.
Yeah.
So maybe she'll put in a second order.
I love it. But that's kind of the most of what we had going on this week. It seems like a small snapshot, but holy smokes, it was busy. Just go, go, go.
Yeah, it's been a crazy month, man.
Yeah, and I can't believe we're already almost to the end of May, and I feel like we were just chatting about the plan for May here a few weeks ago.
I know, it's wild. I mean, after this guest week, the day after this guest week ends, we actually have a couple of pickleball pros coming to the ranch to do a little clinic for Shane and I and the staff that wants to join. So if any of you guys are avid pickleballers and you're coming to the ranch as guests, let us know. We've got a sport court at the house. We've got his hangar converted to an indoor court. We've got this thing called a lobster that actually throws pickleballs too, which is pretty cool. So yeah, let us know if you're into the pickles. So that's about all we got, you guys. We'll keep you posted on how the week goes.
Yep, and hopefully it's nothing more than lots of productive cowboying outside and no cattle outside of the fence.
Amen to that.